Hello and welcome to Math with Mrs. Havrilla. This is Mrs. Havrilla and today we're doing Unit 3, Lesson 12. In this lesson, we made sense of diagrams that represent the division of a unit fraction by a whole number. Getting started with number 1, it says complete the diagram below to represent the expression 1/4 divided by 5. When I'm looking at a division equation, the first number is the dividend and the second number is the divisor. The dividend is what is being split up, and the divisor tells us how many pieces to split it into. So in this case, the 1/4 is going to be split up, which means when I look at my diagram, I need to create a piece the size of 1/4. That's my first step. I have a tape diagram that represents one whole. And if I want to create pieces the size of 1/4, then I'll need to cut my one whole into 4 pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it into 4 pieces by cutting it in half and then cutting each of those halves in half. Now I have a piece here that's the size of 1/4, a piece here that's the size, here, and here. 4 pieces all the size of 1/4. Which added together equal one whole. Now that I have this, I need to take one of these pieces and I need to split it, cut it, divide it into 5 pieces. So I have to very carefully draw 4 lines in here, splitting it into 5 pieces, trying to be as even as I can. Now I could leave it like this, and this is correct, shading in one of those pieces. I could also split all of the other fourths into 5 pieces as well. You'll see up here in the example that it says that both of these diagrams up here are representing the same equation, where only one of them has been split up, and then you're to infer that the other 2 would be as well, or where you've just gone ahead and shown that all of them are being split up. I'm going to go ahead and split them all up. So my diagram is complete. Now it's asking what is the value of 1/4. When I have 1/4 divided by 5, or a fraction divided by a whole number, my answer is going to be a fraction. The phrase that we've been using in class is if it starts with a fraction, the answer is a fraction. The numerator does not change, so it's going to stay 1. And what I'm actually doing is I'm taking the denominator and the whole number and I'm multiplying them together, 4 times 5, to get 20. And I can actually see that represented up here in my picture because I have 1 shaded in with my numerator of 1. And if I were to count every single one of these teeny little pieces that I just created, there would be 20 pieces. So one of them has to be the size of 1/20. Moving on to the back. Number 2A, which expression matches the situation? 4 friends equally share 1/5 slab of modeling clay during art class. When I'm trying to write a division equation, that dividend, the first number, is what is being split up. In this scenario, the slab of modeling clay is what is being split up, which means the 1/5 has to go first. If I look at my options here, I only have one option where the 1/5 is going first. So let's just verify that the rest is correct. Once we have that 1/5 slab of clay, we have to then share it. Share is a key word meaning to divide between 4 friends. So I'm going to cut it up so that 4 people can share it. If I look at this, I can see that that 1/5 is being split into 4 pieces, so my answer is D. B asked me to draw a diagram to match. So I'm going to go ahead and draw out my tape diagram. I'm going to label this entire tape diagram as being one whole. And then I'm going to start with the thing being split up, the 1/5 slab of clay, which means I need to split my 1 whole into 5 pieces, so I have a piece the size of 1/5. All right, so now I have 5 pieces, which means each of these pieces are the size of 1/5. If I were to add all of these pieces together, 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5, it would give me 5/5 or 1 whole. Now I need to split one of these slabs, this 1/5 piece, into 4 pieces for my 4 friends. So I'm going to split that in half, and then I'm going to split it in half again so that I now have 4 pieces here. Friend 1, friend 2, friend 3, and friend 4. And I'm not even going to worry about splitting up these other ones. I can just infer that they would all be split up into the same equally sized pieces. Remember, when we work with fractions, we're working with equally sized pieces. How much of the slab does each friend get? Because my division equation starts with a fraction, the answer must be a fraction. So I'm going to draw that line representing division. My numerator does not change, and I do denominator times whole number. 5 times 4 to get 20. 1/20 is the size of this one piece that one friend will get, or each friend is going to get a piece that size. All right. Number 3 says match each expression to the diagram that it represents. So I have expressions on this side, I have diagrams on this side. I could start either way, but because they want me to match the expression to the diagram, I'll start with the expression. Over here it says 1/4 divided by 4. So that means I need to find a picture that matches 1/4. So where my 1 whole is cut into 4 pieces. Here my 1 whole is cut into 2 pieces. Here, my 1 whole is cut into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. And here it's cut into 1, 2, 3. So this one, B, is the one with the 4 pieces cut into 4ths. Right away, I'm kind of noticing that this first piece is a little bigger than the other 3 pieces, but I'm thinking that must be a small error because this is in fact representing 1/4. And we're just going to assume that it's an equally sized piece. Now, for this to totally match, not only do I have to have 1/4 piece represented in my whole, but I then have to have my 1/4 being cut into 4 smaller pieces. I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 smaller pieces here, which means D is going to match to B. For E here, 1/3 divided by 3, I have to find a whole that's split into pieces the size of 1/3, so 3 pieces. For A, I have 1, 2 pieces. For C, I have 1, 2, 3 pieces. Okay, so I've got my 1/3 of my whole here, my 1/3 of my whole, my 1/3 of my whole. Now my 1/3 has to be cut into 3 smaller pieces, and I can see 1, 2, 3 smaller pieces, so E matches with C. Next I have F, where I have 1/2 divided by 4. So 1/2 divided by 4, means I need to have a whole that's split into 2 pieces. When I look at A, I have 1 piece, 2 piece. And those 2 pieces then have to be cut into 4 smaller pieces. Let me label my 1/2 and my 1/2. And then my 4 smaller pieces here. Just wrote 5 when that's, got these numbers off. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 smaller pieces. It's gonna go here. Now for G, I actually don't see a picture that matches G, so it must have gotten left off. That's probably my fault when I was copying this page. So what I'm just going to go ahead and do is I'm going to make my own picture. Why not? To make a picture to represent 1/4 divided by 2, I need to draw my 1 whole, labeling it as 1 whole tape diagram. Then I need to cut it into pieces the size of 1/4, which means I need to cut it into 4 equally sized pieces. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. And then I'm going to divide that 1/4 into 2 pieces. So there I am splitting it into 2. I'll split this one into 2 as well. This one can be split into 2. This one can be split into 2. Now I didn't have to do those 3 because I could just assume that they are, but I went ahead and did it. And that is a picture that would match G. All right, that's all I have for today, so be sure to check in again next time for help with your homework.